Welcome to Innovation Pulse, your quick, no-nonsense update on the latest in cleantech and EVs. First, we will cover the latest news. Ionity and Alpatronic are launching ultra-fast EV charging in Europe, while China's sodium-ion battery advancements could transform energy storage and transportation. After this, we'll dive deep into the growing market adoption of sodium-ion scooters and the infrastructure expansion driving their success. Ionity, in partnership with Alpatronic, is set to introduce ultra-fast megawatt charging stations across Europe later this year, following China's pioneering steps in rapid EV charging. These new stations will offer up to 600 kilowatt of power, significantly faster than the current 350 kilowatt chargers. While no European EVs can yet handle the full power, future models are expected to. Ionity, backed by major automakers like BMW, Ford, and Volkswagen, plans to start deploying these cutting-edge Alpatronic HYC1000 chargers, capable of charging multiple EVs simultaneously. Despite the shared power, dynamic allocation ensures optimal charging for different vehicle models. Ionity claims a powerful EV could gain 186 miles of range in just 8 minutes, making charging nearly as quick as refueling with gas. This summer, the Spark Alliance will launch, allowing EV drivers access to 1,700 stations with a single app. Europe's car industry faces challenges as German and French automakers lag behind in technology advancements like LFP batteries and software-defined vehicles, areas where China excels. Ursula von der Leyen has crafted a plan to revitalize the industry, focusing on boosting EV demand, digitization, and battery production. This plan incorporates elements from American, Chinese, and European policies. However, implementation is slow as her commissioners selectively support parts of the plan. Von der Leyen proposed production aid for European battery makers, regulation of Chinese foreign direct investment, and rules requiring European content in batteries and EVs. Despite these promises, progress is hampered by non-binding guidelines and opposition within the EU. The plan's success depends on strong commitment, as Europe risks falling behind with weaker CO2 standards and industrial strategies. Von der Leyen's leadership will determine if Europe's car industry can thrive again. And now, pivot our discussion towards the main cleantech topic.
Today, we're going to explore how China is revolutionizing the battery industry through an unexpected vehicle: electric scooters. While the world focuses on lithium-ion technology, Chinese companies are racing ahead with sodium-ion batteries, extracted from something as simple as sea salt. These batteries are finding their way into millions of electric scooters across China, potentially reshaping global energy storage and transportation.
Thanks for that introduction, Donna. This really is a fascinating development that's happening right under our noses. Please, ask me your first question.
Let's start with what's actually happening on the ground in China. What are we seeing in cities like Hangzhou?
Picture dozens of sleek electric mopeds lined up outside shopping malls, looking just like Vespa scooters, but selling for only $300 to $500. These aren't powered by the usual lead-acid or lithium-ion batteries you'd expect. They're running on sodium-ion cells made from sea salt. Companies like Yadea are setting up promotional events where people can test these scooters alongside fast-charging stations that can boost power from 0 to 80% in just 15 minutes, plus battery-swapping stations where you scan a QR code to exchange spent batteries for fresh ones in seconds.
That's impressive infrastructure. How does this fit into China's broader battery strategy?
China's essentially playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. While the rest of the world is still trying to catch up with China's lithium-ion battery dominance, Chinese companies have already moved on to mass-producing sodium-ion alternatives. This gives them a potential escape route from dependence on key raw minerals, and they're approaching it from multiple angles. Not just scooters, but also the world's first sodium-powered cars and massive energy storage stations for renewable power grids.
You mentioned cars briefly. Tell me about CATL's role in this transition.
KTL is the world's largest battery manufacturer, and in April 2025, they announced plans to mass-produce sodium-ion batteries for heavy-duty trucks and cars under their new Naxtra brand. They were actually pioneers in this space, launching their first sodium-ion battery back in 2021 when lithium prices were skyrocketing. But the real game changer is that they're not just focusing on vehicles, they're also targeting grid energy storage, which many researchers consider the main playground for this emerging technology.
Why are electric scooters proving to be such an ideal testing ground for this technology?
It's all about the Chinese little electric donkey. That's the endearing nickname for these ubiquitous two-wheelers that carry people everywhere in China. These vehicles operate over shorter distances and at lower speeds than cars, making them less demanding in terms of energy density and power output. Since sodium-ion batteries carry significantly less energy than lithium-ion batteries of the same size, the lower energy density isn't as much of a problem for scooters as it would be for cars that need longer range.
The numbers around two-wheeler adoption are staggering. Can you put this market into perspective?
The scale is mind-blowing. In China alone, around 55 million electric two-wheelers were sold in 2023. That's nearly 6 times the number of all pure, hybrid, and fuel cell electric cars combined sold in the country that year. This massive volume creates the perfect pathway to achieving economies of scale. When you're talking about tens of millions of potential customers, even small improvements in battery technology can have enormous market impact.
Yadea seems to be leading this charge. What's their specific strategy?
Yadea is being incredibly systematic about this. In 2024, they launched a pilot program with 150,000 food delivery couriers in Shenzhen, a megacity of 17.8 million people. The goal was to enable these couriers to swap spent sodium-ion batteries for fully charged ones within 30 seconds at partner stations throughout the city. They've also established the Hangzhou Huayu New Energy Research Institute, specifically to research emerging battery chemistries, particularly sodium-ion, because as their senior VP Zhou Chao says, they want to bring technology from lab to customers fast.
Shenzhen sounds like it's becoming a real test case. What's happening there?
Shenzhen is positioning itself to become a battery-swapping city with incredibly ambitious goals. They're planning to install 20,000 charging or swapping pods for electric scooters in 2025, expanding to 50,000 by 2027. The city already has a battery-swapping park and aims to build such a vast network that residents can find a station every 5 minutes. Companies like Yadea and battery-swapping firm Dudu Huandian have grown so rapidly there that it's becoming a real-world laboratory for this technology.
Let's dive into the technical side. How do sodium-ion and lithium-ion batteries actually compare?
They have remarkably similar structures. The main difference is the ions shuttling back and forth between the battery's positive and negative sides to store and release energy. But here's the key advantage. Sodium is about 400 times more abundant than lithium, widely dispersed in seawater and the Earth's crust. This makes sodium-ion cells potentially much cheaper to produce at scale and could free the battery industry from current supply chain choke points, especially since China controls nearly 60% of the world's lithium refining capacity.
That abundance sounds promising, but there must be trade-offs. What are the downsides?
The biggest challenge is energy density. Sodium-ion batteries carry significantly less energy than lithium-ion batteries of the same size, with studies showing at least 30% lower energy density. For cars, this means shorter driving ranges, which is why the few sodium-powered vehicles launched so far have been tiny microcars with very limited appeal. For two-wheelers competing mainly against lead-acid batteries, which have even lower energy density, this isn't as much of a problem.
There's an interesting historical parallel here between sodium and lithium battery development. Can you walk us through that story?
It's fascinating. Both technologies actually started development about half a century ago, with Japan leading the global effort. But when Sony launched the world's first commercial lithium-ion battery in 1991, its huge success essentially put sodium-ion research on pause for decades. The real turning point came in 2021, when global lithium prices skyrocketed, multiplying over fourfold due to EV demand and the pandemic. That's when Chinese companies, who had become the dominant battery force worldwide, suddenly started looking seriously at sodium alternatives again.
Beyond cost, what other advantages are driving interest in sodium ion technology?
Safety is a huge factor. China was shocked by a wave of battery fires in 2024, mostly from lithium-ion batteries in two-wheelers self-combusting. Some industry insiders believe sodium-ion batteries are safer because they're less prone to overheating and burning. Sodium's chemical traits are more stable. There's also the cold weather advantage. While lithium-ion batteries lose storage capacity and recharge cycles at sub-zero temperatures, sodium ions move more easily through the battery liquid, giving them better conductivity and performance in harsh conditions.
I understand there are also environmental considerations. How do these technologies compare?
A 2024 study found that sodium-ion batteries can help the world avoid excessive mining and possible depletion of critical raw materials, particularly the heavy metals like cobalt and nickel used in lithium-ion cells, which can negatively impact humans and nature. However, the production process currently generates similar volumes of greenhouse gas emissions to lithium-ion cells. The key is that as the technology develops, production processes, lifespans, and energy density can all be improved, potentially making their climate impact lower than lithium-ion batteries in the future.
Let's talk about the automotive applications. How successful have sodium-powered cars been so far?
The results have been pretty underwhelming, to be honest. The first electric cars, powered by sodium batteries, rolled off assembly lines in December 2023. But they've all been microcars officially classified as A in China. One report found just 204 were sold in 2024 out of tens of millions of EVs sold in China that year. The low energy density remains a big problem because range is such a deciding factor when people buy EVs, and sodium-powered cars simply can't travel very far on a single charge.
Given those automotive challenges, where is sodium ion technology finding its sweet spot?
Energy storage stations are emerging as the main playground for this technology. When batteries are installed in fixed locations, the disadvantages for vehicles completely disappear. You can just make a slightly bigger energy storage plant, since it's not moving anywhere, and weight doesn't matter. This is going to be an enormous market as the world's grid-scale energy storage capacity needs to grow nearly 35-fold between 2022 and 2030 to achieve net zero by 2050. China has already switched on its first sodium-ion energy storage station in Guangxi, which can hold 10 megawatt-hours of power, equivalent to the daily electricity needs of 1,500 households.
What does the current market adoption look like for sodium scooters specifically?
The uptake has been gradual but encouraging. Yadea's sodium two-wheeler sales reached nearly 1,000 in the first 3 months of 2025, and they're planning to build around 1,000 fast-charging pillars specifically for sodium-ion batteries in Hangzhou this year. They're not alone either. Another Chinese manufacturer, Tailg, has been selling sodium-powered models since 2023, and BYD's battery arm is building a plant to make sodium batteries for two- and three-wheelers. Market projections show sodium-ion batteries growing from 0.04% of China's electric scooters in 2023 to 15% by 2030. That's a wrap for today's podcast. Ionity and Alpatronic are boosting Europe's EV charging speeds, while China is leading a battery revolution with sodium-ion technology, reshaping energy storage and transportation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends and colleagues so they can also stay updated on the latest news and gain powerful insights. Stay tuned for more updates.